Welcome to my free series of leadership and ritual facilitation videos. You can donate to help me offer more of these classes and write on these topics. There's more information in the video details below. All right, you said, have you ever run a ritual that was completely in song form? If not, want to try?
Can you blame me for asking?
I cannot, since we met over chanting.
Yes, we did.
You had me at chanting and contraltos. Yes, I have done almost entirely sung rituals, so it can be done. You need strong chanters to make it happen. And you need good chants. And I know that sounds like really obvious advice, but it's if the chants are bad and you don't have really strong chant facilitators, it's not gonna go well. Probably the most common question that I get when I'm talking about energy stuff in ritual is, how do you get people chanting? Because when I try and get people chanting, they just stop. So there's a whole art form to getting people chanting, because the group has to be willing to chant. Otherwise, an entirely sung ritual isn't going to work. The coolest example of an entirely sung ritual that I have witnessed myself was the late Margot Adler did. I forget the funny title that she had for it, but it was basically the entire ritual was chants. It was an entire hour and a half of sung ritual, which was pretty cool. And your voice is pretty tired after that. But I'm not sure what specific kind of advice you're looking for on that, other than pick good chants and have good chant leaders. I mean, I know that's a little vague, but.
Well, I mean, we've talked about chanting before. You've already said that you have to keep your chants really easy for people to slide in and out of, and then having good, strong chanters who should be. I'm guessing from everything that we've talked about, your strong chanters should be part of your team that you're working with. Mm-hmm. They should be able to read your mind if something goes horribly, horribly wrong. Have some cough drops handy, some apple cider, and
keep cough drops on your person. I have learned to, so here, super secret ritual trick that works for those of us who wear bras. I keep cough drops in my bra when I'm doing ritual. I use Burt's Bees lemon honey for my emergency. Oh crap, my voice is dying and I need a little boost. I have also learned to speak with a cough drop in my mouth. And in fact, I can sing with a cough drop in my mouth for at least a little while. It's not good if you need to be articulate, but you can do it. So ritual pro tip, learn to sing with a cough drop in your mouth. And doing entirely sung rituals, really, you do need people who can read your mind, and you do need to be able to sing and rub your belly at the same time. And what I mean by that is, so I was doing the main ritual for Paganicon, and this was one thing where I had invited a lot of different people to take ritual roles, so it wasn't just me. But I hadn't worked with most of these folks before, and so there were a couple folks who weren't quite sure what the cues were going to be. And so I was doing the cantillation thing where I have, this is like the advanced ritual technique I use, where I've got 4 people standing in the center of the circle back to back, and they're all speaking extemporaneously, and they're speaking loud enough to be heard by the group, and the group is singing an ohm or a tone. They're singing a single harmonic tone. And then I'm singing over the entire thing, because I'm loud enough where I can pretty much do that. This was close to 200 people in this ritual, so that was taxing my throat a little bit, but I could still sing over them. And so I'm singing this cantillation piece, and fortunately I have it really firmly memorized, this particular piece, because I had one of the people who had said she would facilitate a piece of the ritual. She comes over to me while I'm singing, and she whispers in my ear, and she says, "Is it time for the something or other?" So I'm still singing as this is happening. So I had to be able to keep singing and keep track of what I was singing and be able to answer her question. Those are what we call advanced ritual techniques. But I was actually surprised. I was like, oh, I can do both of these at the same time. Same thing with drummers. Usually, if you're good enough to be drumming in ritual, you're good enough to drum while somebody's whispering something in your ear and not lose track of your rhythm, that's a skill. I do not share that skill. That is not my gift.
I got your back. I can do that for you.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that is not my gift. Um, yeah, it's yeah, I mean, singing in ritual is a whole thing. But yeah, if you're doing an entirely sung ritual, what I've done, I did a largely sung ritual in Chicago where each elemental piece was singing a particular chant, and most of the people that I had on my team are not really strong singers, so they weren't really comfortable with leading the chants themselves. So what we did was we had them do a talkie piece and then I led the chant. So that can work too. But if you have more chanty folks, that's better. And there's different types of chanty folks. There's the folks who are good at leading the main chant, keeping the melody anchored. There's that skill set. There's folks that are really good with adding high harmony. There's folks that are good with adding low harmony. There's folks that are good with adding vocal percussion. There's all sorts of different skill sets in chanting. There's also the folks that are good with it. It's usually referred to as energy singing, where you've got like the basic chant is being sung, and then they're kind of singing vocal riffs kind of up over it and adding in more texture and things like that. There's all sorts of different skill sets in chanting. Very often it's a one-stop shop when I'm doing rituals because I don't necessarily have a team, or I don't necessarily, when I'm traveling and teaching, I don't know, am I going to be working with people who have any of these different skill sets with chanting or, any of that. So, going back to your, the first question about ritual structure, I mean, chanting is part of my ritual structure. I will go for far simpler chants if I'm working I don't have any other backup chant people, and I'm uncertain about how, whether or not the group is going to be willing to jump into the more complicated chants. Because I have made the mistake where I started a chant and it ended up being too complicated for the group, and then you have to switch gears, because it doesn't work to say, no, this isn't working. That doesn't really serve your energy process there. The best thing you can do is kind of let it fade down and then do something else. So again, I'm not sure that entirely answers your question, but I would say if you want to do a completely sung ritual, just keep building your chanters, getting more people with chant experience, keep training them, and keep weaving in more chants into your rituals so that your group knows a lot of those chants, and it gets more used to chanting, and then you can whip out a large part of this ritual is going to be chanting. So, we'll be teaching each chant as we go along, just following when you got it, blah, blah, blah.
If you have any questions about ritual facilitation or leadership for pagan groups, please feel free to contact me. I love questions and I love writing articles or recording videos for actual issues that people are facing in the community. If this webinar is useful for you, please consider donating. It is my goal to make this education available for all, but to do that I have to pay the bills. I also have several books available, and there are links below under Show More, or you can contact me via my website or social media.